Imagine a family of 14, standing waist-deep in freezing, churning water, watching their mud brick home literally dissolve around them. Across the village, their wealthier neighbors are completely dry. Knowing the area's history of flooding, those families had already paid to elevate their foundations, leaving this destitute family exposed to the storm. Desperate, the family wades door to door, asking for temporary shelter on a dry floor. Instead of help, they are met with contempt. The neighbors mock their poverty, telling them that if they had simply worked harder to afford brick homes, they wouldn't be begging in the rain, and shut their doors. With the water level creeping up toward the children's necks, the physical stakes shift from extreme discomfort to imminent death by hypothermia or drowning. They have no choice but to wade out of the village entirely and head toward the only high ground left, the untamed jungle. As they reach the tree line, their reality is stark. They have zero cash, no structural shelter, and absolute confirmation that society has turned its back on them. When a group is entirely cut off from the safety nets of civilization, it strips away everything but raw survival instinct. That total isolation creates a brutal vacuum, setting the stage for an extreme test of human ingenuity. Inside the dense canopy, the rain is still pouring. While the men of the family wander the mud looking for an escape, the real solution is staring right at them, a massive, ancient, hollowed-out tree. The 5 daughters-in-law stop waiting for a rescue. They claim the hollow interior of the massive trunk as their base camp, instantly gathering dry wood and molding clay into makeshift stoves to boil foraged vegetables. This is the active application of Jugaad, a philosophy of frugal, flexible problem-solving. It relies on hacking whatever limited resources are within reach to force a practical solution into existence. Once their caloric needs are met, a secondary, deeply psychological friction point emerges. Surviving in the mud is one thing, but the lack of basic sanitation and the requirement of open defecation quickly becomes unbearable. Take a look at this structural breakdown of their first major engineering feat. They take a thick, fallen log and hollow it out with sharp stones to create a seated commode. Then they harvest wild bamboo, cutting it into interlocking vertical poles to enclose the space and establish total privacy. Watch how this system expands. They run a cheap rubber hose directly from the elevated flow of the nearby river, feeding the water pressure straight into a store-bought showerhead mounted inside one of the tree's natural wooden notes. By building their own infrastructure, the family stops simply reacting to the wild. The ability to shower and use a private toilet creates a physical and psychological barrier between their household and the mud. But stabilizing their living conditions introduces a new variable. The intense jungle humidity causes the wild vegetables they forage to rot within hours, threatening their food security. Their solution is highly unorthodox. Instead of salting or smoking the food, the women pool their last few coins, sending one of the husbands back to the village scrapyard to buy a dead refrigerator's cooling compressor for a mere 200 rupees, or about $2.50. This diagram illustrates their most complex integration yet. They physically slot the mechanical compressor unit right into a natural cavity in the tree trunk. The dense wood acts as thick insulation, allowing the cooling coils to drop the internal temperature so effectively that it yields solid ice. With their food supply secured, their living standards accelerate. They carve custom-fitted bed frames and harvest wild cotton to stuff their own pillows. Physical comfort frees up mental bandwidth. Having honed their woodworking skills on the treehouse, the women pivot toward economic ambition. They begin carving intricate wooden toys and carrying them back to the village market to sell. As each physical obstacle falls, the family's focus shifts. The same skills used to secure their shelter are now generating a surplus of goods, providing them with a steady stream of market income that the village can no longer withhold. Weeks later at the village market, the same wealthy neighbors who turned the family away spot the women selling their wooden toys. Looking at the handmade goods, the neighbors confidently assume the family is living in destitute squalor. Eager for an opportunity to gloat, a few of the wealthy women follow the daughters-in-law back into the jungle, fully expecting to mock a pathetic camp in the mud. Instead, they step through the brush and face a towering, multi-room architectural marvel. The raw wooden walls seamlessly integrate with highly refined, hand-carved sofas, elevated beds, and the subtle hum of a mechanical fridge component embedded directly in the timber. The power dynamic immediately inverts. The daughters-in-law don't act defensive, they act like gracious hosts, casually opening their tree fridge to serve the stunned neighbors ice-cold water and chilled sweets. The humiliation is absolute. When one of the wealthy neighbors needs to relieve herself, she is guided not to a bush, but to the cleanly engineered bamboo bathroom. Faced with the undeniable proof of the family's success, the neighbors are forced to apologize, their classist assumptions entirely shattered. The divide between the village and the jungle proves a crucial point. Poverty is a temporary lack of cash. It is never a lack of human capability. This jungle home stands as a testament to human resourcefulness. In a matter of weeks, the family engineered a modern existence out of a hollow tree, proving that capability exists even where capital does not.